Love that music. S-T-A-T-E. Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo!
All right. Well, we are back once again on a Tuesday. At least I believe it's Tuesday. Hope it's Tuesday. But we are back with Seminoles Sideline 365. Once again, I am KB. I'm here with Bruce. How's it going? How was the weekend?
Great,
How's everything going?
Great. Had a great weekend. My softball team, the Bears, got our 10th win. 10th win. We had to go down south, play the Southern team, one of their big teams. Bam! Hit them 17-11, man, in a nail biter. And then watched the great basketball game last night. Did you watch the game? NCAA championship. Kansas down 15 at halftime, comes back, roars back, and smacks down the Tar Heels to win the national championship. And I think the right team won.
Yeah, I didn't really care, so I didn't watch it. But yeah, no, I heard it was a good game. Came down to the wire.
No, it was a great game. I mean, it was a classic. They'll play at a classic. And you know what's really funny? So I think if I remember, let's see, North Carolina is down by 2, but Kansas has the ball on the out of bounds. And Kansas throws the ball in, and the guy's going down the court. He takes like 2 steps, and he steps out of bounds. North Carolina gets the ball back with about 3 seconds on the clock. The guy has to put up a 3, but he had a chance. If he would have hit that and they go into overtime and North Carolina wins, that would have been like the Chris Webber play in Michigan when he called like timeout, no timeout. Oh, it would, but how – it was unbelievable. The guy stepped out of bounds, but it was a great game. And Kansas had a great team the whole year. Deserved to win it all.
Well, if you're like me and didn't watch, call up Bruce and he can give you a
blow by blow, buddy, blow by blow.
But yes,
absolutely. What's going on?
Yeah, no, that's great. So we're done with college basketball. Spring game is this weekend for Florida State. A lot of them are happening around all across college football. I think Louisville's was last weekend. I think Georgia Tech's is coming up. Like all the teams are having theirs. Of course, you're going to the spring game, right?
Spring game booked going up Friday. We hope to catch the ladies softball game at 6 p.m. And then we're going to walk over to Rock the Block party. You know, they're at Madison.
I think I'm awful singer for that. Why they always cheap out on the concerts at the spring game? Well, they got some country. They always get some country artists that nobody's heard of.
Friday night is the block
about.
Party. Saturday night is a country man.
Yeah, and some guy that nobody's ever heard of.
I don't know
why
you don't listen to country music. I've heard of him.
Yeah, I don't listen to
Fix Me a Drink. I think he sings that song. Fix Me a Drink. Great song. So that's going to be in the stadium after the game, and your game ticket includes the concert. Now, if you want to be down on the field right in front of the stage, that's another $20, I think it is. But
Chris Jansen,
Chris Jansen,
not my playlist.
We're going to park our butts right there in the nice seats and catch it and have a nice night. The weather's supposed to be great. So looking forward to it, which brings us to the end of spring football and our updates of where we are.
Yes. So yeah, looking forward to capping off the spring and seeing how the teams progress. I'm excited to see a couple of players. I really want to see how since we don't have a backup quarterback as of right now, no transfers in, only Jordan. Excited to see how AJ has come along as a spring enrollee. Tate, there's been news about how he's really progressed from last season, where you really couldn't throw him in there and trust him to do anything competent with the football. So I'm really excited to see if the strides he's made in practice are actually going to be able to translate into a pseudo, high intensity scrimmage. And if he's able to progress down the field, I'm kind of in the disaster mode of thinking that we're not going to move the ball all on either side, and the defense is just going to completely dominate, because that's really what's the last few practices they've been reporting on has been happening. There's been flashes by the offense, but the defensive line has looked how we expected them to look. They've been dominant, and then the offensive line has somewhat been stagnant. I think Darius Washington may have had to go under surgery today for a meniscus cleanup. So
when did you hear that? I didn't hear that at all.
You got to have sources, but yeah, so that happened today. He should be back by I believe the beginning of the season. It's just a routine cleanup, but he's going to miss practice. So that is unfortunate. And I just heard that, with Lyles from Wisconsin still trying to learn the system and get integrated into that line, that the line's been struggling or just hasn't been dominant. So yeah, I just want to see how they hold up, how they can protect both Travis and AJ. And then if Tate is able to once again sit in that pocket and actually deliver the football, like a backup quarterback should be. So that's what I'll be watching for. And then I guess the last thing from my end is, how do these transfer wide receivers look? We brought in 5 of them. I want to see Micah Pittman from Oregon. It flashes anything. Johnny Wilson, the 6'8" monster tight end from Arizona State. I want to see how
he's not really tight end. He's a wide receiver.
Well, we'll see how they use it. That's one thing I want to see. How do they actually utilize him? Where do they line them up? Do they line them on the line? Do they line them staggered? Also, and I want to see his speed. I've never watched the guy. He got very limited playing time at Arizona State, but they said he's really stood out in terms of the way he catches the ball. So I want to see how they utilize him, and if he shows what he's been showing in practice. So those are the guys I kind of want to look out for. And I just really want to see how the offense performs, because I'm really scared about what they look like right now.
We've got one viewer disagrees with you. Wendy, thanks for weighing in tonight. Loyal viewer. Chris Jansen will be great. You got to listen to country music to understand who Chris Jansen is.
The only good thing about the Willie Taggart area is that he brought in Vanilla Ice for the spring game one year. That was Vanilla
Ice. Yeah. That's a good one. I go along with what you're saying there, but I think it's how is the game going to be structured by Coach Norvell? What does he want to accomplish out of it? This isn't just, hey, let's have fun and throw some guys to each team and have a fantasy draft and guys walk out. And, they've done that in years past. I think this year you have to go into the game. What is it we're trying to accomplish, and what are we trying to get out of this game? Now, I doubt that there's going to be domination by the defense and they're just going to push the offense all around the field. I think there's ways to skew those results there, KB. I think the coaches can skew those results a little bit depending on who's on the field at the time. If you've got the first team offense and they're playing the second team defense at the time, or more second team guys, you're going to get some offense out of that. And so I think there's ways to make the game interesting and exciting, because the fans want to see that. They don't want to leave that stadium not seeing a few offensive fireworks, something to buy season tickets on. Okay.
And I agree. I agree that there may be, like you said, some setups so it does become like a 7-0 game after 30 minutes of a spring game.
Plus, it's on the ACC network, and they're going to have guys broadcasting this out.
They got primetime coverage on the ACC network.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? It'd be more interesting if we were playing like a scrimmage against Jackson State or something. Then you could probably put 50,000 people in there to watch that. Bring the great Jackson State marching band in. Be fabulous. But listen, here's what I want to see come out of this game. First of all, there's certain players that I want to see come out of this game unscathed. I want to see them perform up to a point, and then I want them out of the game. I don't want any injuries. The Washington one already, that's already on the list. The first one is, and guess, look. I got the old whiteboard, buddy.
Here we go.
I got the old whiteboard here.
Here we go.
I got the old whiteboard right on top.
Are you gonna bring that to the stadium with you and look like a crazy guy?
I might bring it to the stadium. I got the whiteboard. Old school, buddy. Old school. I want to see Jordan Travis make a few plays, and basically, he's going to be in a no contact jersey, jersey. But, you can still go down with an ankle injury or twist the knee, get rolled up by some guy. But the bottom line is I want to see Jordan Travis get out of the game unscathed, make a few plays. He is the quarterback. That's been confirmed by everybody. There's no controversy.
Yeah.
The second guy I want to see get out of that game quick is Mr. Cooper. Okay. I want to see Robert Cooper get his licks in. Nobody's going to be able to control him. Get his licks in, get him out of the game. That's number 2.
All right.
Okay. Number 3. And if you disagree, raise your hand. Number 3, Mr. Bethune, our transfer guy. He's already shown enough in the spring. He's already shown enough on tape at UCF. We don't need him in the game long.
No, you do need. See, I disagree there.
No, okay. Yeah, I don't want to see him get hurt. Is what I don't want to see.
Well, guys are going to get hurt. I mean, it's going to happen. It's not like if you hold him out today, he's not going to get hurt. Like,
but some of this game is not about getting hurt.
I'd rather him get hurt in the spring now, so they can recuperate.
But not for my starters. Not for my starters. The fourth guy is Mr. Lovett on the defensive line. I need Cooper and Lovett to get out of that game so they're not hurt. Okay.
So why don't we just not play the entire defensive line?
I'm not saying that.
I would just not play them because then they can't get hurt, right?
I didn't say you have to agree. I would
just get some local kids to play on the defensive line to see how
now, number 5, I want Mr. Pittman and Verse, my defensive end. I want them in there. I want them get their presence known, show what they can do under game situation a little bit. It's a controlled scrimmage, and then get them out of the lineup.
No. Micah needs to play. The dude has 200 yards in 2 seasons. Well, why would you take him out?
He
needs to get repetitions with the quarterbacks in a live game scenario.
I think he's the number 1 guy in the receiver room. I don't need to lose him. I already lost Winston Wright, and Mr. Pittman may be running back punts for this team.
He's definitely not wide receiver 1. That's no.
Okay, let me finish.
He needs to play.
Okay. Number 6.
No one on this team is good enough for a pitch count other than maybe Jordan. I think he's the only one that's good enough to be put on the pitch count.
I want to get Trayshawn Ward and Benson. Get a few carries in there between them. Get them out of the game. We got a lot of deep running backs there, and I want to get them out of the game. No, I don't want any injuries. That's Coach Bruce. This is Coach Bruce. Number 7.
It's not baseball though.
Number 7. In the defensive backfield, Mr. Robinson. Remember that show? Mr. Robinson. I want Mr. Robinson out of the game as soon as he gets some of his work in. And then the last guy.
Is the entire team sitting out? Like, I don't get it.
We're talking 6, 7 players here. Don't worry about it. We got 90 guys on the team. And then number 8 is the guy I want to see in the game a lot. But I don't want to see him get hurt because if he does get hurt, if he got hurt seriously, it's going to change the scenario over the summer. And that's Tate Rodemaker. I agree with you there. I want to see Tate in there. Yeah. I want to see that confidence that we're hearing about. Yeah. I want to see that guy take command of everything he does and really put the work in. And him and AJ will be battling it out on both sides. That's what I see. Yeah. Tate versus AJ. Tate versus AJ.
Yeah.
And then, we can't sustain any big injuries to our starting 5 or 6 on the O-line.
I don't think you can even think about it because you can't control it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
That's Coach Bruce's list of what we can't afford to lose.
Well, and I agree with Jody, who commented in the chat, Jody Potter, who said, you can't hold them back because they'll get hurt. It's going to happen. Injuries are going to happen at any point in the season. And
this team can't afford some of the major guys to go down.
They can't afford not to practice. This team is not deep enough and not skilled enough not to take these great practice opportunities to play with each other. And this is one of the last live type experiences and scrimmage experiences they'll have for another, how many months? 3-4 months. So I don't think guys like Benson who are coming off injuries and should be fully rehab by now. You need to see if he has the skills to be your number one running back.
What
Meeting with Ward. You need to see them take. I would love for him to get 10, 15 attempts to see if he does have the wiggle. Can he make a break?
He's not going to. If he gets 10 attempts, he'll be lucky.
It's between him and Trayshawn, though. That we need to see.
Well, there's more, but that running back room is deep.
Not deep with talent, though. Not deep with skilled talent.
No, I think there is talent.
With a lot of guys, but none of those guys are going to be able to make the impact that I believe Benson and Ward can. The other guys,
there is talent. I think there is talent there, and I think they're going to share a lot of these reps. You know, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 running backs on each team in this thing, and they'll go at it. But you know what? They're going to protect some of these guys. They're going to protect some of these guys because if not, the portal will come into play very big this summer. Now, let me ask you.
Good. We need people to leave. We need some of these players to leave. So if that's what gets them to leave,
who do you think?
Florida State needs to get players to get the hell out so they can bring potentially better players in or more.
I like guys we have now. There's room on the team, but if you had to go to the portal this summer without any injuries, who would you still go out and try?
Shed some of these offensive linemen. These essentially some of these linemen that have been here for a while that probably aren't going to break into the starting lineup. The guys we covered.
But some of them are young. They just haven't had a chance and opportunity.
And there's a reason they haven't broken through. This isn't like this great offensive line where if you're a sophomore or redshirt sophomore, you shouldn't be getting playing time. If you're a redshirt sophomore at Florida State on the offensive line, you're still not getting reps. You need to leave. This O-line's not good enough for you not to get reps on.
The good news is Thomas Schrader is back on the field. They've got him on a play count. But, they expect good things out of Mr. Schrader. So I think there's guys there. But, if the right guy came available in the portal, they may take another guy for the offensive line. And I think they may need to look at one more guy to bring in the linebacker room. After we get below Bethune and Deloach, it kind of drops off a little bit. So if the right guy comes available, they may go after a guy in the linebacker room as well.
But it's about, do they have room? Like right now, I don't know if they have room to take anyone on, which is why I think they need to shed another 3, 4, 5 guys. I think right after the spring game, you're going to see a good amount of Florida State players, 4 or 5 people leave the team. There's guys that need to leave this team that have been here for a while. You don't even remember their game. Do you know who Kobe Gross is?
Yeah, he was a tight end.
Exactly. And he's not going to play. He's never going to play on this team, but he's taking up a spot. And it's just the way it is. Like our tight end room is not very good. Wyatt Rector came in and he's probably, from what they're saying, the best tight end we have over Cam McDonald. Even he was a former quarterback who transferred and walked on. And they're saying he's from
Leesburg, Florida.
And they're saying he's the best tight end we have right now. That just shows you that there's people in that room that probably shouldn't be here any longer. So those are the guys that just need to probably go and find other opportunities so that you can bring potentially other people. Give other people just need new opportunities when they don't see they're going to play, and I think you're going to see.
I think that's a natural thing. I think that's a natural thing. If a guy wants to play or still has the dream, let's say that I want to go to the NFL, and I'm not playing here, and that dream still lives, then he's got to go find another place. Now you saw the article, the information about how many guys went into the portal from Florida State, how many actually went into Power 5 programs.
Yeah, I shared that with you.
Yeah, it was like 2, So,
yeah.
I'm sure some of these guys, like you've said before, they just want to stay on the team. They're good enough with that, even if I don't play. And I don't, and give it half effort. But the coaches, it's their responsibility to fit this roster to win ball games. And whatever they have to do, that's why they're accountable as well. Not only are they accountable for recruitment, they're also accountable for retention and loss. So That's just part of it.
And the thing you were referring to, the thing I shared with you that was on Twitter was the stat was FSU had 18 scholarship players that entered the portal as of last August, I believe. This was stating. And only 2 of them have found Power 5 destination. That's Chuba Purdy at Nebraska and our former kicker, Parker Grothus at West Virginia. So the other guys have gone to like FAU or even a step below even that. So, and this is a lot of those guys were, half of those, I believe, are like Willie Taggart guys. Another half was like transition players, and a few of them were.
Yeah, they weren't playing. They were guys that had no tape and they weren't playing. So I don't think it's surprising they didn't go to Power 5 guys.
No, it just shows you the talent, the kind of lack of talent that we had on this team. Is nobody kind of,
Well, what it shows is we are a long way from the top. And we're not going to discuss the schedule this tonight. We've got too many things on the plate already. But we are a long way from the top, and they have to get this team built the right way. And I do believe that Coach Norvell and his coaches are doing that, but we have to be patient as a fan base. And too many times it's all 2 years, 3 years up, guys out, and we start again. And that's another 3-year building process. Nobody has a magic wand to come in here.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he can't go out and win 3 games next year, or he will be out. He will be very much on close to the way out. So I think we have some questions that have come in that you said we want to go through. So why don't we go through those? Because I think we're just talking in circles now. But
I think that there is a lot of concern out there, and we get some messages in on the side from some of our viewers. And here's one from a question, Knowles Lover. Should Coach Norvell be fired if the Noles don't win 10 games? I'll throw it to you.
Okay, well, first of all, whoever wrote that hasn't been watching. They're not going to win 10 games. They're not even going to be close.
Well, some people think this team is built to win 10 games.
Who said that?
I've heard it. I don't
have that. Unfollow them. Don't listen to no. This team wasn't even built to win 6 games last year, and they're going to make a jump to 10 wins next season.
What do you think?
Playing the schedule they play.
What do you think? How many
6 wins is 6 wins is a projection right now.
6 wins will keep his job.
It will probably keep him in a job. People won't be happy with him, but it'll keep him alive for another season. I think most people think the split is between 7-5 and 6-6. As to what is achievable next season.
Well, they could.
That gets you to a bowl game. And that's what I think the next step has to be: is you get to a bowl game, and you have a promising showing. If you don't get to a bowl game next season, and if you don't get to 6 wins next season, you have nothing else to sell. You can't recruit anymore. Like, you can't go 3 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins. Like, that shows no progression, no growth in your program.
I think the bottom line is, well, actually, we had 6 wins last year. We should have. Okay, I know.
No,
I don't want to get into should have.
You didn't beat the high school team. You don't get to count that.
Okay. What I'm saying is that should have been a 6-win season, even maybe a 7-win. So I say if he gets 6 or 7 wins, I think 7 wins would be a good year. So to answer his question, 10 games is out of the question. I think 7 wins and even 6. Coach Norvell is here. I think he's working hard. I think he's really
working hard. I don't think that's a good argument. You can't just say, "Guys, working hard, so we should keep them."
Let's go to the next.
Have to come.
Let's go to the next question. Bobby R from Ocala, Florida. Will coaches go back to the portal for more players? Meaning like this summer?
Yeah, and I think we just talked about that a little bit. But they are. I think from what I'm hearing across the Florida State community is that obviously they're looking for another starting caliber type lineman, someone who has some type of experience at the Power 5 level, who just maybe isn't going to be a guaranteed starter on another program. Kind of maybe like what you found in Dylan Gibbons last year,
or Lyles.
Yeah, something like that, where you can just kind of plug him in, and because the O-line room is deep, but it's not, the floor is still it's sort of low. So you
It's
may be able to find,
inexperienced. It's inexperienced.
I think it's gotten better, but you need some more of a veteran presence that you can plug in because injuries are going to happen. And so that's what they're looking for. I think the second thing they're looking for is potentially, I don't think they'll grab another defensive back just because they have too many right now. But if they find a really talented one that wants to come, I think they would take it. And then maybe a receiver. But I think O-line's the thing that if we get another competent O lineman, I think that you may be able to jump up that win total by half a win, because that'd be the biggest concern right now. So we'll see if they can find that person.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. And I agree with that because I had already talked about what I think is going to happen in the portal. You have a coach already in the administration. You have an administrative support coach that's basically, he surveys, the portal every day. Okay. There's a lot of names in the portal, and player personnel. That's his job. Take a look, try to fill needs just like the NFL. Same kind of deal, in that regard. Okay. Next question from John C. John, which freshman football player will have the greatest impact this season?
That's a good question. I think that's for me. That's a tough question.
A freshman, not a transfer portal.
Yeah. No.
I'm going to steal your answer.
Yes,
You got 3 seconds.
You go ahead.
2, 3. I'm going to say Sam McCall.
Yeah.
Sam McCall. Yeah. I think Sam McCall is going to be on the field quite a bit more than we think, especially in the nickel situations or passing situations where we put in the extra defensive back in. I think he's going to have at least 2 picks during the season. And I think, he may even get a few reps on the offensive side. We haven't heard anything about that, but I wouldn't rule that out. So I think it's going to be Sam McCall.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think the only other one I would be interested in looking at is Azaria Thomas, also playing on defensive end. I think both of them are going to shine a lot.
Thomas is a defense. He's talking Thomas is a defense.
On defense. Yeah, on defense. So watching him, I think will be interesting. Being the late grab that they got him and fell in their laps, essentially. I think he'll have the opportunity to pop. On the third tier, we may see Rodney Hill, the running back, get some time in that running back. He's been shining a little bit here and there when he's gotten time in practice, and they've said something. They called him out specifically. So on the offensive side, Rodney Hill, he'll get some playing time during the spring game, so that might be a name you watch out for. But that's the other guy I'll kind of be watching on Saturday too, to see if if he's built enough to start playing his freshman year on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. Next question, Stan H. from Tampa. Tampa Bay. Is quarterback Tate Rodemaker ready to carry a bigger load on this offense? And I'm assuming he means if Travis gets hurt during a game.
I mean, I don't know. Like I just every time we see him on the field, he's never looked ready. And granted, he got a lot of playing time his true freshman year, and he threw 3 interceptions. And then last year he didn't get on the field a lot, thankfully, because we had both Mackenzie Milton and Travis. He wasn't going to play. But the reason you brought in Mackenzie Milton was, I think, not so much that you didn't trust Travis, but more you really needed a trusted backup. You took a guy that barely had any leg, has issues with his leg and couldn't really run. And you brought him in because you were so desperate for that kind of stability behind Travis or with Travis. So I don't know. Maybe the fact that they haven't brought in a quarterback yet tells you that they trust Tate enough to say, okay, well, we're going to roll with this because it's better than bringing in the guy that doesn't know the system and it doesn't know the playbook and it doesn't know the player. So maybe he has brought that jump. I don't know. I I don't know if this is going to be a JJ Constantino when he goes in there. He's a pick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or can it be the next Sean McGuire where he actually develops and he can come in and he can win a game for you? I lean more towards the latter and think he's going to be a JJ.
I think Tate has to show well in the spring game.
Yeah.
I don't think AJ Duffy has to do much. I don't think he's going to take the job away from Tate unless Tate has a really poor showing. And if Tate has a poor showing and AJ has a good showing, you could see Tate transfer out of here. Okay. If he gets the feeling I have no shot to be the backup quarterback on this team, and if I'm coach, I'm worried every day that Jordan is going to go down, that I've got to know that I didn't bring anybody in to this room because I don't want to disrupt the mood. But Tate has to be ready to go. And to think Jordan Travis is going to make it through the entire season without some bumps and bruises is almost fantasy. So Tate is going to get his shot this year at some point.
It'll be very telling if because you're going to, like we all know, after the spring game, you're going to see a lot of guys enter the portal. There will be quarterbacks that enter that portal because they'll see their playing time, how much they get in the spring game.
Right.
And Florida State will have their opportunities to grab a guy. They definitely will. And they'll tell us if they trust in Tate, they won't take a guy. And
they'll know at the end of this game how they feel.
Yeah.
And then because there's a ton of quarterbacks in there already, but I looked at them and I didn't, nothing.
No, not the good ones are.
Nothing rocked my world.
Yeah.
In there.
But you're not going to get a starter. Most likely. You're not going to, all the good ones are already taken.
I think JT Daniel is still in there from Georgia.
No, he went to LSU.
Oh, did he? I thought I saw his name in there.
Yeah, no, he went to LSU.
But I think that's going to be a very key decision for the success of this team going forward. So good question from Stan. Okay, we've got one more question here from our mailbag, and that's from Rufus J. in Hudson, Florida. He asked, how many basketball portal players will Coach Ham bring in to restock the basketball team?
I want to correct myself. You are right, Jay. I was thinking of who went to LSU, the other quarterback who transferred there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, JT's still, you're in the portal.
I don't know why he's still there. I don't know why he's still in the portal.
Yeah, he did get beat out and has some injury history. So, but he's going to West Virginia apparently this weekend. And then he's going to be visiting Missouri and Oregon State again. Maybe that tells you. I think he wants a guaranteed starting job somewhere.
Yeah.
And obviously Florida State's not going to give him that.
No.
So this is probably, that's delaying the process for him, is that he wants a guaranteed job.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, I correct myself there. That you're right. That is interesting. He's still available. So
yeah. Okay. Back to the question. How many basketball portal players will Coach Ham go after?
Oh, I mean, that's really changing gears from.
Yeah. Well, it's a question.
I mean, they've already gotten one. They got the kid from the Ivy League.
Right.
I think it was announced tonight that Anthony Polite's going to the draft.
Gone.
Yeah, he's going to the draft.
Right.
So that's going to open up a spot.
Matthew Cleveland's coming back, though.
Yeah, that's good. I think they'll probably bring in. I would have to look at their spots.
And they lost Wilkes, and they lost that 7'2" guy whose name I can't ever remember. Who didn't?
I don't look at Chimore. I think they have. I got to look at their spots availability, but I think they'll bring in one or two more guys. I think they're trying to get one or two more guys in, high level guys.
And there's a bunch of guys going into the portal. A bunch of the
there's tons.
Who the St. Peter's guys?
You don't want any of those players. You don't.
Why not?
Those guys are dumb. I mean, they're not dumb, but they're not going to end up playing at Kentucky. No offense, but they had a great run.
Well, we're not Kentucky. We're trying to build a team to get to 500 in the ACC and make the NIT or get to the big dance on the bubble. That's what we're trying to do. So if a guy's out there and he's got some offense, maybe we take a look at it.
Their leading scorer, the leading guy in the portal, averaged 13 points per game. Those guys aren't going to end, in my opinion, are not going to end up at a top 25 team unless they're okay with not starting. But
okay.
Yeah.
So the answer is they're going to look at the portal.
I think they're going to try to get one more high-level portal guy and then focus on signing another 4-5 star.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of playing time available on this team, I believe. So a guy, like you say, a highly sought after recruit, or some guy that hasn't been playing who was a big star in high school, this is a good opportunity to come to Coach Ham, is a good coach, and that can help.
So Jody has a question. Can a player enter and leave portal all year long, or are they specific timelines? So the general rule is once you enter your name, I believe you have 48 to 72 hours to take your name out of the portal. So once you enter your name, the school has to post it, and they have to put notification to everyone that you're entered. But then you have, I believe it's 72 hours to take your name out of the portal, which retains you at the school and stuff like that. So
if you don't take your name out, that scholarship spot opens up, correct?
And more or less, your intentional leave, yeah. Essentially,
I need to look permanent. At that a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, essentially, if you don't take yourself out of 72 hours, then you're kind of screwing yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's essentially the quick summary of how that rule works there. So if you don't get picked up, you don't get interest, then you're kind of have to go find your own. And that's why a lot of these kids, in my opinion, a lot of coaches are already reaching out through back channels to see, what connections can be made, or am I going to have a spot at your school when I enter? Well, just to have those plans in place. So
that's a great lead in, KB, to the final point for this evening. And we don't have enough time probably to spend it as much as we'd like. And we'll hold this for an upcoming future session. And that is reaching out. This NIL thing, I did a lot more research on this NIL thing this week, as it's been flying around in the social media in Florida State circles, as well as other circles around the country. This thing is the wild, wild west of the NIL. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I heard, which was amazing, was, a lot of people may not be, but if you're a Florida State fan, you should have heard about the Rising Spear, the organization called Rising Spear. And it's been on a number of podcasts and YouTube channels. Rising Spear, one of the things I heard coming out of the interview with the administrators of this Rising Spear organization is that they can go and meet with high school players or even portal players, I assume. Now, they're in a little bit different category, because they're on scholarships and such. But they could go into a high school player and meet with their family, and the coaching staff may not even know anything about it and can't know anything about it.
Yeah, they can't. They can't.
And
that's Florida law. That's Florida law, though.
And talk to the family and talk to the kid about a pending deal that if he comes on scholarship, signs, on signing day, he could get let's say as spokesman of the local Ford dealership, get a Ford as part of his contract. They will actually be offering contracts to these players.
What do you think Dion's been doing? How do you think he's getting players?
Well,
I don't
have any information on that, but all I want to say is this: back in the day when it was all rumored that these colleges were doing this anyways, and alumni groups, and they were giving guys jobs that they never showed up to, we have now arrived in that day. And how that is going to change the nature of recruitment and the nature of which teams are winning all the time and which ones aren't, because the amount of money that's being thrown around is going to be an incredible thing to watch and analyze. I can't wait to see some of the stories that are going to be coming out of this. And the gentleman from Rising Spear even talked about some of the potential deals that they've heard have already been orchestrated by other schools. It was fascinating to watch. So I would encourage our viewers not only to listen to us, but look at the rest of the social media about this issue. It is going to change the whole horizon of how kids are being recruited and who gets the kid. Now, because one of the things I've seen, let me finish this, and
you made me so angry. I had to run out of the room. So
well, wait a minute. Is these kids are already, because when they're on their Twitter accounts and Instagram and all the social media sites, they're trying to drive their numbers up, because the numbers drive what? Marketing. If you have big viewers, you get the guy, the sponsor looking at you more than the guy who doesn't have the viewers. Correct? Am I correct?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's your
Pretty
brand.
much so.
You're building your brand.
Yeah, you're building a brand. So when I see these kids coming in now, when they're coming in for visits, they're out there on the social media. Hey guys, hit me up. I'm here. You know, it doesn't mean he's going to be there when he signs. He could be at Alabama. But, you know, everybody school that he goes to, they're driving up his numbers for that next deal, that potential deal. I find it fascinating, and it's going to be a wild, Mr. Toad wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're off base with some things, which is why I had to leave the room. But I think Rising Spear, if you haven't checked it out for yourself. Everyone's talking about it this week because they officially launched their platform. It's interesting. Like I said, I'd like to do some talk about it in some capacity. We did talk about it a little bit on an episode of week. There's a lot more to it. The basic premise, which I like about it, is that, like it says at the top of their website, which is smart, which is marketing, is that their differential is that 100% of your donations go directly to the student athlete, versus going through some unknown platform where there's a 10% administration fee that goes to the owner so he can get his next boat or some crap like that. And then you don't know what the hell is going on. But that is their difference, is that basically what happened with Rising Spear is that a bunch of wealthy alumni of Florida State said, essentially, well, NIL is a Wild West. Nobody's regulating it. We need a way that we can use it to our advantage to bring Florida State athletics, mainly football, but all athletics, back to prominence, because every school is doing something to bring athletes in. This can be our edge if we formalize this process, and if we make it unique in a way that we say, we're going to set up kids, we're going to have a platform where they can find a way to get themselves deals and make it clean, simple, and legal. And I honestly like what they're doing. They're saying the right things, and they're within the rules. They're not affiliated with the university, because you can't be, according to Florida State law. So that's a state's issue, that the university can't be intertwined with this, which makes Florida sort of unique in that scenario. But I like the way that they're doing this. But I think we're going to see an issue between the Booster Club and some Rising Spear and things like Rising Spear, because I've already heard of people leaving or having to decide, do I stay a booster and invest in because I think the great comparison is Booster Club is a long-term investment. You're investing in facilities and stadium projects and different things like that. You are not going to see a return on your investment for 5, 10, 15 years. Versus this, and what they're pitching as part of their marketing pitch here, is that you immediately start seeing a return, because this money is going directly to athletes to either get them here, to get them sponsorships, or retain them, because they see this as both a recruiting tool and a retention tool. How do we get a guy who may be a 3rd or 4th round pick to stay an extra year? Well, if he already knows that he's going to have some walking around money or some money in his pocket, then he knows, okay, I can stay another season, improve my draft stock, and I know that Florida State or Rising Spear is going to take care of me, where I'll have opportunities to make some money on the side using my name, image, and likeness. So they see it, and sources are out there where they interview the founder and the co-founders and stuff, like directors, and they pitch it really well as both a recruiting and retention tool, which I think is smart. And they have that unique statement of all that money goes. They are covering all the overhead themselves. So this is literally something that wealthy guys, Florida State alumni, are covering all the overhead, so that all the money goes directly to the athletes, which I think will be an interesting recruiting tool. And finally is some place where Florida State athletics is thinking outside the box. Or actually, Florida State athletics isn't doing this, but Florida State can market themselves as thinking outside the box, because they have a platform like this where they can go after athletes. So I think it's interesting.
I think it's going to be fascinating to follow, and we are just scratching the surface of this. And I'm not sure how much of this will be above ground or how much of this in the state of Florida is considered under the sunshine law where it's transparent. These are contracts between Rising Spear and a player. And most contracts like that, they're not publicly disclosed. That's a private issue unless the player, makes it visible. Would you agree with that?
It's all. I mean, private business is private. But they're not signing they're facilitating.
No. My understanding is okay. Now I could be wrong. I admit that. My understanding from the language I heard is they will be actually administering the contracts, because if they're not administrating it, who is?
Well, that's the thing. So businesses can come to them and say, I want an athlete. So national, local, whatever brands can come to them and say, I want an athlete, and submit that proposal. And they'll say, okay, well, we have X athlete that's an ambassador that works with us and inside Rising Spear, who would be perfect. He's from Leesburg, Georgia, or from whatever town that you're in, and he can do this for this fee. And then they bring those two parties together. And a lot of these athletes like Jordan Travis already have representation. So it's just bringing the two parties together so they can work that out. Okay. And bring that opportunity together. Now, if they don't have representation, that's where the kind of advisors within this, they have a lady named Rashida who actually owns her own agency, and she's kind of taking her time to help these athletes who don't have representation have someone that works on their behalf to make sure these deals go smoothly.
I think it's fascinating. We don't have any more time tonight to discuss it, but we will be looking at this issue as everybody else will. And we welcome viewers' comments. We welcome your thoughts on this. We do this from the fan perspective. The fan perspective is they can't sit down all day and do this type of thing. So we try to bring what we know and find out what we don't know and share it with you guys, our viewers.
Yeah, so go ahead, check it out for yourself. Rising Spear, their site's up, risengspear.com. If you
we wish them the very best. We really do, because they said their goal is to bring FSU, not just football, but bring FSU back to elite status.
Yeah,
and that's their goal. That's their main goal.
Yeah, we'll discuss some other times. I do want to debate boosters versus Rising Spear, and
I have a lot of other questions.
There's going to be a fight over that, so we'll discuss that on another show. But check it out for yourself. Bring your questions next time, and I think that'll about wrap it up for tonight. Any other thoughts, conclusions?
No, that's it. I think we always start off. We're going to go like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It always ends up. We could sit here all night. We could do this for 2 hours.
I don't know if I want to do that, but
there's so many things to talk about. But no, that's it for me, KB.
Awesome. Well, we'll look out for coverage from the spring game on Saturday. We'll be back next week with coverage from that, our analysis and highlights and lowlights from that. And if there's any other breaking news, we'll try to bring it to you.
I might do a little live from the stadium. We'll see. You don't know.
We'll make sure that there's some quality control in that. So, all right.
Hit that like and hit that bell, because then if I'm doing it, you'll get a bell and then you'll be able to see me at the stadium.
You can see it live. So yeah, please subscribe. Please like the video. It helps us out a lot as we grow. And leave your comments, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Right. We appreciate it. Be safe.